Thomas Bennett stared out the window of his small, worn-out apartment in the industrial town of Manchester. The gray sky mirrored his mood, heavy with uncertainty and worry. At 32, he felt like the weight of the world pressed down on his shoulders, a burden that seemed to grow heavier with each passing day. The factory where he had worked for 15 years had closed 3 months ago. Hundreds of workers, including Thomas, found themselves suddenly jobless. The town, once vibrant with industrial energy, now felt like a ghost of its former self. Rows of terraced houses stood quiet, with for sale signs dotting the streets, like painful reminders of broken dreams. Emily, his 8-year-old daughter, sat at the small kitchen table, carefully coloring a drawing. She knew something was wrong. Children always know, even when parents try to hide their struggles. Thomas watched her, his heart aching. How could he provide for her? How could he keep her safe and happy? Their small 2-bedroom apartment was barely holding together. The rent was 2 months overdue, and Thomas had been surviving on savings and the last of his redundancy pay. Every penny counted. He'd cut back on everything: electricity, heating, even groceries. Emily's school lunches were now carefully prepared sandwiches, packed with love and stretched thin. The mornings were the hardest. Thomas would wake up early, put on his best shirt, the one he'd kept clean for job interviews, and walk through the town. He'd check notice boards, visit job centers, and submit applications online at the local library. Each rejection felt like a personal failure. "I'll find something, Em," he would tell his daughter every night, trying to sound confident. "We'll be okay." But the truth was, Thomas was scared, really scared. He had been a factory worker his entire adult life. He knew machines, understood production lines, but the world was changing. Technology was replacing manual labor, and Thomas felt left behind. One particularly cold morning as he walked Emily to school, she looked up at him with her bright blue eyes. "Dad," she said, "Mrs. Thompson at school said we can learn new things anytime." Those words hit Thomas differently. His daughter, so young, was offering him hope when he felt most defeated. That afternoon, while checking community notices at the local library, he saw a flyer for a free job training program. Computer skills, basic digital literacy, career support. Something inside Thomas stirred, a tiny spark of hope he hadn't felt in months. The program was designed for people like him, workers displaced by economic changes, people struggling to adapt to a new job market. Thomas hesitated. He was never good with computers. The thought of learning something entirely new terrified him. But then he thought of Emily, of the promise he made to her mother before she passed away, to always take care of their daughter, to never give up. With shaking hands, Thomas filled out the registration form. Each line he completed felt like a small rebellion against his circumstances. He wasn't just a redundant factory worker. He was a father, a survivor. That evening, he sat Emily down and showed her the registration form. "We're going to learn something new," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "Together." Emily's smile was brighter than any sunlight Thomas had seen in months. She hugged him tight, whispering, "I'm proud of you, Dad." In that moment, Thomas realized something profound. His struggle wasn't just about finding a job. It was about showing his daughter that life's challenges can be faced with courage, that setbacks are not the end, but opportunities for growth. The apartment might be small, the future might be uncertain, but they had each other, and sometimes that was enough. As night fell over Manchester, Thomas Bennett looked at his sleeping daughter, a gentle smile forming on his tired face. Tomorrow would be another day, another chance, another opportunity to rebuild, to hope, to dream. The quiet struggle continued, but so did their hope. The community center buzzed with nervous energy. Thomas sat in the back of the computer training room, feeling like an outsider among a diverse group of job seekers. His hands felt clumsy, fingers uncertain as they hovered over the keyboard. Around him, younger participants seemed to glide effortlessly through digital tasks. Mr. Williams, the program coordinator, noticed Thomas's hesitation. A kind-faced man in his 50s, he approached Thomas with a warm smile. "Everyone starts somewhere," he said, placing a reassuring hand on Thomas's shoulder. "Technology is just a tool. You're the one with real skills." The first week was brutal. Thomas struggled to understand basic computer operations. Email seemed like a complicated maze. Spreadsheets looked like impossible puzzles. Each evening he would return home exhausted, his confidence bruised but not broken. Emily became his unexpected tech tutor. After school, she would sit beside him, explaining things with the patience of a teacher. "Look, Dad," she'd say, guiding his fingers across the keyboard. "It's just like learning a new machine at the factory." Her words struck a chord. Thomas realized learning was learning, regardless of the subject. The same patience and persistence that made him an excellent factory worker could help him master these digital skills. As weeks passed, small victories emerged. His first successful email felt like winning a marathon. Creating a simple resume became a moment of triumph. Mr. Williams noticed Thomas's determination, often using him as an example of true resilience. "Thomas shows us that age is just a number," he would tell the class. "Real learning has no age limit." The job training program wasn't just about technical skills, it was about rebuilding confidence. Group discussions revealed stories similar to Thomas's: workers displaced, dreams interrupted, but spirits unbroken. They supported each other, sharing resources, job leads, and emotional encouragement. Thomas discovered he wasn't alone in his struggle. Mark, a former construction worker, and Sarah, a single mother who had lost her retail job, became close friends. They would practice interview skills together, review each other's resumes, and provide moral support. At home, changes were happening too. Emily watched her father transform. His shoulders became straighter. His conversations about work became more confident. She saw hope returning to his eyes, a hope she had missed since her mother's passing. One evening, Thomas received an unexpected call. A local tech startup was looking for customer support representatives. They appreciated candidates with real-world experience and strong communication skills. Thomas's factory background of problem-solving and teamwork suddenly became an unexpected advantage. The interview preparation became a family project. Emily helped him choose a shirt. They practiced interview questions together. Thomas rehearsed his responses, his voice growing stronger with each repetition. Mr. Williams provided additional support. He helped Thomas understand that his life experiences were valuable. "Your years in the factory aren't a disadvantage," he explained. "They're your unique selling point." Thomas learned more than just computer skills. He learned about adaptability, about resilience, about the importance of continuous learning. The digital world, which had initially seemed frightening, now felt like an opportunity. His daughter watched this transformation with pride. Emily started a scrapbook, documenting her father's journey. Each certificate, each small achievement was carefully preserved. She understood something profound, that courage wasn't about being fearless, but about moving forward despite fear. The community center became more than a training space. It became a symbol of hope. For Thomas, it represented a second chance, a place where past experiences could be transformed into future opportunities. As Christmas approached, Thomas realized how much had changed. The fear that had consumed him months ago was slowly being replaced by excitement. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was preparing to thrive. Emily's handmade card that year said it all: "To the bravest dad in the world." Thomas knew then that his journey was about more than finding a job. It was about showing his daughter the power of perseverance, the magic of believing in oneself. The quiet man who had entered the training program months ago was gone. In his place stood a confident, determined individual ready to embrace a new chapter of life. Learning and growing weren't just words anymore. They were his new reality. The job fair felt different this time. Thomas walked in with a renewed sense of purpose, his recently updated resume tucked carefully in a blue folder. His computer training had transformed his confidence, and for the First time in months, he felt prepared. Richard Cooper, the hiring manager from Technova Solutions, watched Thomas from across the room. Something about the man's demeanor caught his attention, a mix of humility and quiet determination that stood out among the younger candidates. Thomas approached the Technova booth, his hands slightly trembling but his voice steady. He introduced himself, explaining his background in manufacturing and his recent digital skills training. Richard listened carefully, asking pointed questions about problem-solving and customer interactions. "Tell me about a challenging situation you've handled," Richard asked. Thomas shared a story from his factory days, how he had resolved a complex machinery issue that saved the company thousands of pounds. The passion in his storytelling was unmistakable. During the interview, Thomas spoke about his daughter Emily, about the importance of providing for her. He wasn't just seeking a job, he was fighting for a future. Richard saw something special, not just a potential employee, but a person with real-world resilience. That evening, Thomas received an unexpected call. Technova wanted to offer him an entry-level customer support position. The salary wasn't massive, but it was a lifeline. More importantly, it was a chance to rebuild. Emily's reaction was pure joy. She danced around their small apartment, creating a celebration banner from old newspapers and colorful markers. "You did it, Dad!" she shouted, hugging him tightly. Her belief in him had never wavered. The first paycheck felt like more than just money. It was validation, proof that hard work and determination could overcome seemingly impossible obstacles. Thomas framed the first pay stub, a reminder of his journey. His new job wasn't just about answering customer queries. It was about understanding people's problems, finding solutions, and making a difference. The skills he learned in the factory, patience, communication, problem-solving, translated perfectly into his new role. Technova was different from his old factory job. The environment was modern, with open workspaces and young professionals. Initially, Thomas felt like an outsider, but his genuine approach and life experience quickly won over his younger colleagues. Mark, his friend from the job training program, couldn't believe the transformation. "You've become a tech guy," he joked during their weekly coffee meetup. Thomas laughed, remembering how terrified he was of computers just months ago. The company appreciated Thomas's unique perspective. He wasn't just another support representative. He brought years of real-world experience, understanding problems from a practical standpoint. His managers noticed his ability to connect with difficult customers, turning challenging interactions into positive experiences. Emily became his biggest supporter. She would listen to his work stories, offering advice and showing genuine interest in his new career. "Tell me about your day, Dad," became their evening ritual, a precious moment of connection and shared growth. Financial stability slowly returned. Thomas could now afford better groceries, could plan small treats for Emily, could breathe without constant worry. But more importantly, he had rediscovered his self-worth. The job wasn't just about money. It was about proving to himself and to Emily that age was not a barrier to learning, that setbacks were not permanent, that hope could be rebuilt. During a team meeting, Richard Cooper highlighted Thomas as an example of the company's commitment to diverse hiring. "Experience comes in many forms," he told the team. "Sometimes the most valuable skills can't be learned in a classroom." Thomas remembered the day he lost his factory job, how hopeless and lost he had felt. Now, sitting in a modern office surrounded by opportunities, he understood that life's most important lessons often come from unexpected places. As he looked at a photo of Emily on his desk, Thomas smiled. This wasn't just a job. This was a new beginning. A testament to the power of persistence, learning, and unwavering love. The unexpected opportunity had become something more, a complete transformation of hope. Thomas never planned to become a community leader. It started simply, a conversation with a colleague who was struggling as a single parent. Those initial moments of sharing transformed into something much bigger. At Technova, he began organizing informal support sessions for employees facing similar challenges. His lunch breaks became moments of connection, where workers shared their struggles and found mutual support. People started calling it the Bennett Support Circle. Word spread quickly. Local community centers invited Thomas to speak about career transitions and overcoming employment challenges. His story resonated with hundreds: factory workers, single parents, individuals feeling stuck in their current situations. Emily watched her father's transformation with growing admiration. At 13, she understood the power of her father's journey. She began helping him organize events, creating flyers, managing social media posts, and bringing a younger perspective to their community work. The support group expanded beyond professional networking. They created a childcare cooperative, helping single parents manage work and family responsibilities. Thomas used his tech skills to create a simple online platform connecting local families and resources. Mark, his friend from the job training program, became a key collaborator. Together, they developed workshops teaching digital skills to older workers feeling left behind by technological changes. Their motto was simple: learning has no age limit. Local businesses started noticing. Some began offering internship programs, inspired by Thomas's approach to inclusive employment. The town that once seemed defeated was slowly rebuilding its spirit of community and hope. Thomas's workplace supported his community efforts. Technova recognized the positive impact and began sponsoring some of their community programs. Richard Cooper, impressed by Thomas's initiative, provided additional resources and networking opportunities. Weekend workshops became a regular feature. Thomas and his team would teach computer skills, resume writing, and provide emotional support to job seekers. Emily often helped, her young energy bringing fresh perspectives to their sessions. The community center transformed. What was once a quiet, underused space became a vibrant hub of learning and connection. People from different backgrounds, young professionals, older workers, single parents, found a supportive environment. Thomas's approach was unique. He didn't just provide technical training. He offered hope. Each session included personal stories of resilience, practical skills, and emotional support. Participants weren't just learning job skills. They were rebuilding their confidence. Local schools began inviting Thomas to speak about career development. He would share his story, emphasizing the importance of adaptability and continuous learning. Students saw a real-life example of transformation and possibility. Emily's involvement grew. She started a youth mentorship program, connecting school students with professionals in various fields. Her passion for community work mirrored her father's, creating a powerful intergenerational impact. The local newspaper did a feature on Thomas and his community work. From factory worker to community leader, the headline read, Thomas was uncomfortable with the attention, but understood the importance of sharing hope. Funding began to arrive. Government grants, local business sponsorships, and community donations supported their expanding programs. What started as a small support group was becoming a significant community resource. Thomas never forgot where he came from. Each program, each workshop was rooted in his personal experience of struggle and recovery. He understood that community wasn't about grand gestures but consistent, genuine support. His relationship with Emily deepened through this work. She saw her father not just as a parent, but as a community leader, a source of inspiration for many. Their bond became a powerful example of mutual respect and shared purpose. The town slowly changed. Employment rates improved. Community connections strengthened. People began seeing challenges as opportunities for growth and connection. Thomas's journey had become more than a personal story of recovery. It was a movement of hope, a testament to the power of human connection and resilience. As winter approached, Thomas looked at the growing community he had helped build. The scared, unemployed man from years ago was gone. In his place stood a confident leader, a father, a beacon of hope for many. Community wasn't just a word anymore. It was a living, breathing reality they had created together. 2 years had passed since Thomas first walked into the job training program. Now he stood in the conference room of Technova Solutions as the newly appointed team leader of community engagement. a position that seemed impossible just months earlier. Emily, now 15, watched her father with pride. She had become a key part of his journey, helping him prepare for interviews, reviewing presentations, and offering teenage perspectives that kept his work relevant and fresh. The promotion wasn't just about Thomas. It represented a broader vision of inclusive hiring and community development. Richard Cooper, his original hiring manager, had become a mentor and strong supporter of Thomas's approach to workplace diversity. "We're not just hiring employees," Thomas would tell new team members. "We're building opportunities." His story had become legendary within Technova, inspiring other mid-career professionals to believe in their potential for transformation. The community support programs he started had expanded dramatically. What began as small lunch break discussions had grown into a comprehensive network supporting dozens of families in career transitions. Local businesses now actively sought his advice on inclusive hiring practices. Emily had been deeply influenced by her father's journey. She decided to pursue social work, inspired by the community support she had witnessed. Her school project focused on career support for struggling families, directly drawing from her father's experiences. The town that once seemed defeated was now a model of community resilience. Employment rates had improved. Local businesses collaborated more closely. The support network Thomas created had become a blueprint for community development. During a major community event, Thomas was invited to share his story. Standing on the stage, he looked out at the faces of people he had helped: single parents, former factory workers, young professionals seeking direction. "2 years ago, I was afraid," he began. "I thought losing my factory job meant losing my worth. But I learned that our value isn't defined by a single job. It's defined by our ability to adapt, to learn, and to support each other." His speech was interrupted multiple times by applause. People saw themselves in his story, the fear, the struggle, and ultimately the hope of transformation. Mark, his friend from the job training program, now worked alongside Thomas. They had become a powerful team, creating opportunities for those feeling left behind by technological changes. Their friendship represented the true meaning of community support. Technova had transformed its hiring practices because of Thomas's work. The company now actively recruited mid-career professionals, recognizing the value of life experience and adaptability. Thomas had become a key strategist in this approach. Emily's involvement continued to grow. She started a youth mentorship program, connecting school students with professionals. Her understanding of community support came directly from watching her father's journey. The first community center where Thomas had learned computer skills now displayed his photograph. "From struggle to success," the caption read. It was a reminder that personal transformation could create broader social change. Financial stability had returned, but Thomas knew the real wealth was in the connections they had built. Their small apartment was now a hub of community conversations, filled with hope and possibility. During a family dinner, Emily asked about his journey. Thomas shared stories of struggle and triumph, creating a powerful narrative of resilience for his daughter. She listened, understanding that life's most important lessons often come from overcoming challenges. The local newspaper did another feature, this time focusing on the community transformation. "How one man's journey rebuilt a community," the headline proclaimed. Thomas was uncomfortable with the attention but understood its importance. As the year ended, Thomas reflected on his journey. The scared, unemployed man from years ago was gone. In his place stood a confident leader, a father, a community builder who had transformed personal struggle into collective hope. During the company's annual celebration, Richard Cooper presented Thomas with a special leadership award. "Thomas represents everything we believe in," he said. "Resilience, adaptability, community." Emily watched, tears in her eyes. She understood now that her father's journey was about more than finding a job. It was about finding purpose, about creating opportunities for others. The circle was complete. What began as a quiet struggle had become a powerful story of hope, transformation, and community.